Welcome to episode 2 of the Virtual Reality Action Podcast. If you'd like me to discuss something in a future episode, please feel free to DM me on Instagram, or if you're in the VRA Discord, you can drop it in there. The links to those are both below, along with my Patreon link if you'd like to support the VRA brand. And thank you to my current Patreon supporters, Enraged Strings and Stay Frosty USA. You can also support me by purchasing a VRA morale patch. So for this episode, we're going to go into what got me into VR, what I like about VR, what I don't like about VR, and why do I choose flight simulation over other VR games at the moment. So to start with, the thing that got me into VR, I've been a gamer since I was a kid. The first gaming experience I can remember, I would have been somewhere around 5 years old, playing Alex Kidd on I think it was the Sega Master System. But anyway, so my best friend at the time, he took me to. And the guys, we went out to a place called Virtual Reality Studio in Auckland here in New Zealand, in the North Island. And man, I just had the best time. I just felt like I'd been transported to another world. I was having lots of fun. What you actually did in the game, what you did for real is what happened in the game. Because you had a controller each hand and the headset on your head, and so it tracked those three positions, which was really cool. So that's largely what got me into VR. But then it kind of morphed from, well, I went home, got married, and then was just carrying on with life. And then COVID kind of hit, and I was trying to think of, well, what am I gonna. I was interested in business, so I wanted to start a business, and I was thinking something to do with gaming, or I had this awesome VR experience up in Auckland. Maybe I could start up like an internet cafe type thing. So that was kind of where I was going, and the Quest 1 was out, but COVID had hit and it had sold out, and so I was like, man, that really sucks. And the other thing too is you can't have customers physically there if if there's a global pandemic that's locked everything down. So that kind of made things problematic. But what I did do is I ordered two Quest 2 headsets because they'd just come out. And I thought that'd be a good idea because my wife and we can chill out and play mini golf in a safe environment, because things can get quite violent with my wife when you're playing mini golf in person for real. And because I used to go away a lot for work too, so the other part of the theory was if I'm away for work, so long as I had cell phone data with a mobile plan where I could hotspot my Quest 2, then it doesn't matter where I go. When wife and I both have had dinner and we're all calmed down for the night, we've done all our chores and stuff like that, then we could just we could play around in mini golf, or just chill out in virtual reality, and you still kind of have a bit of a relationship when I was away. So that's what got me into virtual reality to begin with. What do I like about virtual reality? I like the feeling that you're actually there in the game. When you turn your head, the screen in the headsets, it turns at the same rate as you turn your head, which is really cool. And if you walk forwards for real, you walk forwards in the game as well in most cases. And the other thing that I like about virtual reality is that the picture quality was better than I thought it was going to be. So you've got the sensation of actually being in the game. You're getting a little bit of a workout because you're actually moving for real, and you've got a reasonably decent quality image, which is pretty cool. What don't I like about VR? Well, I don't like that for some people it causes VR sickness, which is it's just the sensation of nausea that's brought on by a disconnect between what people are seeing and what they can physically feel. So it can make them feel a little bit vomity, which is not cool. I don't like that the headsets can be too heavy for some people. So some people that aren't used to having any kind of weight or force on their head. I've got a relatively thick neck compared to some people, so I don't have that much of an issue with it. But it causes a bit of discomfort for some people after playing it for a period of time. Like for my wife, it's somewhere in the ballpark of like 10 to 15 minutes before she starts feeling a bit of pain around the face as well, like on the I think on the it's either on the forehead or on the back of the head where the headset kind of rests on the head. She gets pretty sore areas there as well, so that kind of sucks. The resolution isn't as good as a flat screen gaming monitor. So one of my friends and I can't fly in flight sim without VR now because of the level of immersion that it gives you. But my friend, he can't fly a flight sim wearing a VR headset because he needs he needs that resolution, that definition of the picture, because otherwise it just looks yuck to him. So that's another thing that I don't like about VR is that the resolution isn't as good as a flat screen gaming monitor. And the other thing is to run VR games on PC, you need a grunty PC. And so the bad thing about that is it can be quite expensive to purchase the PC parts or just a VR capable gaming PC as a whole. It's quite expensive. And so the last thing that I'll cover in today's podcast is why do I choose flight simulation over other VR games? And so I'll take a step back in this journey as well because it combines with another experience that I had where like my favorite thing in the world used to be shooting rifles. I've been shooting since I was like 3 years old. I used to go out hunting with my grandfather when I was a kid. And then my wife made the mistake of getting me a helicopter flying experience. The local aerodrome had, there was a company that was just doing 45-minute helicopter flight, and instructor would take you up and you go up and you just fly around the place and come back, and it was the best thing since sliced bread is the best way I can describe it. So that when I came out of why this is important is because when I came out of that experience, uh, it dawned on me that to get that fix again, in order to scratch that itch again, uh, I would have to pay a significant sum to pay for the aviation fuel because aviation fuel is so expensive. So I went down a path of thinking, well, how can I get the same, or as close an experience as I possibly can without having to pay so much money? And it came down to flight simulation. I ended up buying a laptop that was able to play Arma 3, and I bought a Logitech flying joystick that cost me just around $100. And I'm talking New Zealand currency here. And I just started flying helicopters. I think it's called the Ghost Hawk in Arma 3. It's the closest thing to a Black Hawk helicopter or an NH90. I know there's a bit of controversy around the 90 series at the moment, but I loved it. I loved the challenge of transporting troops into a battlefield on Arma 3. It was really cool. Um, and so it kind of morphed from Arma 3 to, well, I discovered DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. Um, and so it's a free download, and you pay for the aircraft modules that you want to fly. And so I downloaded DCS, I got the Huey helicopter and the F-18, and I spent hours to the degree where it caused me relationship problems with my wife, and I'm not proud of that, by the way. But this is how much I liked it. I think I'd spend. Oh, I went through and I did every lesson like 10 times every day, and I wasn't happy until I'd finished that. And to go through all of those lessons like 10 times each, we're talking somewhere in the ballpark figure of like 2.5 to 3 hours. So I was doing that every day. Um, so combining DCS with virtual reality, that gave me the closest sensation that I've been able to possibly find to flying. You actually feel like you're in the flight deck of the aircraft. It doesn't matter if you're in the Huey or an F-18 or an Apache or an F-15. Like, and even Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is the other one. I feel like it's a little bit more arcadey when you compare it to Digital Combat Simulator, but the benefit is that you can fly a wide range of civilian aircraft. So like your Cessna 152s, 172s, all the way up to like your big transport airliners like 737s and the like. And yeah, sure, it's got an F-18 in there as well, but it can't shoot. And so if I feel like a tactical challenge, I'm going to go and fly DCS. But if I just want to go through some procedural flying type stuff, and bear in mind, I'm not a qualified pilot or anything like that either. I'm going to start picking up some flying lessons soon. But just in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can fly anywhere in the world in a wide variety of general aviation jets, which is really cool. And they've got a little bit of helicopter stuff in there too, but I'm not a big fan of the way that helicopters are modeled in Microsoft Flight Sim. So I've kind of rambled on enough, I think. But yeah, DCS, I think, offers the best experience you can possibly get to real flight. It's modeled so well, right down to the switches. And the challenge of learning everything is so massive too. And so that's another big thing that drives me or draws me towards flight simulation, is the challenge of learning all the procedures, like starting up your aircraft, talking to the ground crew about how much fuel do you want, what sort of stores do you want, like different jets can carry different types of missiles, how much ammunition you want, chaff and flares, like all that sort of stuff. And then actually looking at where are you going to fly? Are you going to fly, you're going to just fly over the ocean? Are you going to fly through, like, over the hills? What altitude do you need to fly at? Like, there's so many different ways that you can challenge yourself. And so I think that it's similar to like the brain activity that you get when you're learning to speak a different language or learning to play an instrument. It's that same level of intellectual challenge, because you have to go through and learn all of the different checklists, what to do when things go wrong, because like engines can get blown out by enemy fire and stuff like that. And then also, like, if your engines just fail for whatever reason, what do? Just going to eject, or are you within, we call it like in the bucket? Are you able to glide safely to your nearest aerodrome? And then is that aerodrome long enough for you to land on? So I think I've rambled on enough, I think. So I hope that you've all enjoyed episode 2 of the Virtual Reality Action Podcast. On Instagram, feel free to DM me with questions on there. I really love conversation with people, especially if it's about virtual reality or aviation. And it doesn't need to be either of those two things combined together. We can talk about that stuff in isolation as well. We can talk about one or the other. And if you want to support me, you can buy a VRA PVC morale patch. They're going for $10 New Zealand. Or consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. So leave you all to it. Thanks very much. Catch up.